Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting for the Town of Limington for November 21st, 2024. We will call the meeting to order at 6:59 p.m. and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, we will need the approval of the meeting minutes for November 14th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I will
November
second
14th.
that.
Sorry.
Motion
Nope.
and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries. Approval of the warrants for week number 47. Payroll warrant number 110 in the amount of $31,935.74. And appropriations warrant 111 in the amount of $34,212.70. Totals for warrant 110 and 111 is $66,148.44. Some recurring bills: Bureau of Motor Vehicles, $5,407.92. CMP, $188.23. Department of Environmental Protection, that's the transfer station yearly fee, $395. Maine Municipal Employee Health Trust, $20,294.93. Matheson Tri-Gas, that's the oxygen, $592.77. Pine Tree Waste, porta potties, $380. Pitney Bowes postage meter rental, $257.55. And WEX, $2,242.01. I await a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept payroll warrants 110 and 111.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries. Purchase order requests. Jason, you want to bring us through those?
Sure. Fire and EMS, request to pay Hartford Communications Radio town maintenance, $575. A request to pay Amazon for seat covers and bulbs, $304. And a request to pay Admiral for uniform shirts, $275.85.
I'll make a motion to approve the fire and EMS purchase order requests.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries.
Code enforcement, a request to pay Amazon for file holders, $28.01.
I'll make a motion to approve the code enforcement purchase order request.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries.
Transfer station, a request to pay Jenna Cody refund for tire fee, $60.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer station purchase order request.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries.
Municipal complex, a request to pay Amazon for office supplies, $377.65.
I'll make a motion to approve the municipal complex purchase order request.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries.
Public Works, a request to pay Napa for parts for truck 5 and 6, $1,152.56. And a request to pay Sleepers Hardware for painting supplies, $183.77.
I'll make a motion to approve the Public Works Department purchase order requests.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries. Weekly activities. Today we had an executive session to talk about employee matters and legal counsel. We're also going to be having executive sessions coming up on December 5th and December 12th pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 405-6A, employee personnel matters, and 6E, consultation with legal counsel. So that's going to be happening on December 5th and the 12th. We're working on budget presentation for the different areas of the town budget that the select board is responsible for. Tammy is taking it to herself to go over all of those numbers and make sure that everything is in the right place, and we really thank Tammy for her efforts in that. It's a big job, and she's got us backing her up, but it's best if one person is doing the numbers on it so that, you know, we're not messing things up worse than we should be. Not to say that we're messing things up, but
Just less hands in the pie.
Yeah.
thank you, Tammy, yes. Moving on, I have the Public Works Department weekly report. The ditching on Lower Tucker Road is completed. Speed sign has been relocated to Hardscrabble Road. Joe Joy Stream Crossing has been cleaned of beaver debris and traps have been set in several areas. Norton Road ditching and culvert maintenance has been completed and several damaged areas have been repaired. Town Hall generator has been running for a couple of days due to a problem with the internal computer, but Gowan has been notified and will be sending a tech to fix the problem at the start of next week. Generator can manually be put online if needed, so that's good. 22 loads of sand have been brought in and mixed with salt in preparation for the snow season. Residents are notified that sand is available for people to take as needed. The crew has been working to get plows and wings ready for the season, which includes scaling, painting, welding, and hydraulic service. Crew is still working to clear all the trees and debris in different areas around town. Crew will also be moving to Doles Ridge Road next week. That's what we got from the Public Works Department. What do you have for us, Jason?
Oh, I got the code enforcement, 2 growth permits, 1 building permit, 1 plumbing permit, and 1 occupancy permit this past week, totaling 5. It was $1,862. And the year-to-date is $134,127.21. And Craig has been out on 7 inspections this week. So that's it from the code enforcement. Fire and EMS, they have 12 calls this past week. Month-to-date, 33, year-to-date, 675. 6 are fire calls and 6 were EMS calls. This week's all shifts are covered. December schedule has been released. There are currently still 2 shifts to fill. Trainings, in-house, there was 2 trainings this past week. One was an EMS training covering traumatic cardiac arrest and airway management. The other was a combined monthly meeting and fire training covering startup and maintenance of chainsaws. This will be followed up with a hands-on practical training covering cutting trees, standing and falling, and ventilation cuts. Let me see. Special notes, month to date, they are at 0 calls ahead of last November. Excuse me. And we are currently 43 calls ahead of last year. The fire danger continues to be elevated. Some days are very high. We have been fortunate to only have a few small outdoor fires that require our response. Our surrounding areas have seen a high volume out of control outdoor fires, several of which we have assisted with. We have the ability to shut off our online burn permit sites. Even when the state has posted an allowable burn class, we have left them off for the last few weeks, other than days it has rained. So,
Thank you, Jason.
yes.
Tammy, you want to bring us through the rec department?
Yes, I will. So the weekly report for Limington Parks and Rec, the current weekly programs before and after care, every week at HB Emery, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And they still have openings available for mornings and afternoons. The coffee social every Wednesday from 9:30 to 11:30 at the Old Town Hall. The indoor pickleball at HB Emery every Tuesday and Friday night starting at 6. $2 per night, or buy a punch card for $20. Mom's Coffee Hour, this is new, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Monday at the Old Town Hall. A great time for moms to come and share and visit and get out of the house. And flag football and rugby clinic every Monday afternoon at HB Emery from 3 to 4. We currently have 14 participants. Okay, upcoming, youth basketball. Registration is open for 1st and 2nd grade basketball clinic, $40. 3rd and 4th grade boys and girls basketball teams, $50. And 5th and 6th grade boys and girls basketball, $50. Registration is available online at limingtonrec.com. The Outdoor Explorer Club, $40, Thursday afternoons from 3 to 4 at HB Emery starting December 5th. Registration is available online at limingtonrec.com. There will be a holiday bus trip to Sandy Hill Farm for their Winter Wonders Light Show on Thursday, December 5th. They will be leaving from the municipal office at 3. Tickets are $50, which includes transportation on a coach bus, courtesy of VIP tours, and the ticket for entry to the walk-through light show. And a registration is available online at limingtonrec.com. Community CPR certification class. They have 3 spots left open for the CPR class at the Old Town Hall on Sunday, December 8th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This class is instructed by Kathy Johnson with CPR Professionals of Maine. Please call Madison to reserve your spot at 239-9290. Other notes, there will be a community Thanksgiving meal and meal delivery Saturday, November 23rd at the Old Town Hall. The meal starts at 4, and please reach out if there is someone you know that can't make it and would like a hot meal delivered. Please also let us know if you know of a family in need of a Thanksgiving meal box with a frozen turkey or ham for the holiday. Breakfast with Santa at the Old Town Hall, Saturday, December 7th from 9 a.m. to 11. Come and join us for breakfast, letter writing station to Santa and a mailbox, and, of course, a chance to visit with Santa. Breakfast will be cooked and served by our aftercare elves. There is no fee for this event, but donations are encouraged. That is from Madison Moody, our Parks and Rec Director.
A couple of things that were left off of his weekly report was that there's also going to be a craft fair on December 7th at HB Emery, right?
Correct.
At HB Emery?
Yep.
And that's running from 9 to 1 p.m. And the tree lighting is going to be happening December 1st here at the Municipal Complex. It's going on between 4 and 5:30 p.m. So
By the Cub Scouts.
by the Cub Scouts.
And there'll be other things going on at that same time, not just the tree lighting, so bring the kiddos out.
It'll be a
Ooh and
great
ah
time.
when they do the plug-in. I think somebody's gonna be able to win a chance to turn the lights on, is that
Yes.
right?
Really?
Yeah.
They take in names and draw them out of a hat, and one lucky individual will get to turn the lights on. So that's always exciting.
That's nice.
Yes.
Anything else for us, Tammy?
Yeah, on that note of the Christmas tree lighting, out in the lobby, there's opportunities for the Christmas toy box, and there are applications out there for if you want to have something donated to your child for Christmas, a gift or not. And there is a whole table out there with cards for people who have already signed up, and if a resident could grab one, they're like for boots or a coat or something for children, and then purchase that item, attach the ticket to it, and bring it back to the town hall. It's a great program that we do every year at Christmas time. So there are applications, and there are, for the people who want to apply for that, and there's also cards out there for residents to grab if they want to purchase a gift. So that's going on. I have a public service announcement.
Please.
This came to our email from Senator Collins' office, and people with LLCs typically go online to the State of Maine site, and they renew their application every year. And there's a scam going around to get you to send your money in. And so just want to make it available, let people know, to make sure who you're sending your money to. I've heard that this site is asking for $210, and the state of Maine, which is official, is $85 renewal. So don't get caught up in the scam. Probably many people that I know got that email, and they caught it. It didn't look right to them. So if you get that sneaking suspicion that something in your inbox doesn't look quite right, always double check on that, because I have never seen so many scams out there in so many different ways coming to people's emails right now. So please be diligent and pay attention to things that may not look quite right. We have nefarious people out there wanting your money.
Not everyone has the best intentions.
Not always.
One last thing for activities, be sure to tune in after the select board meeting. The Financial Advisory Committee will be meeting tonight, directly after the select board. Do you want to bring us through the informational bulletin?
Sure. The Select Board office hours are Thursdays from 2 to 8, and the on-air meeting time is Thursdays at 7. The transfer station hours are Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Wednesdays noon to 4. A transfer sticker must be attached to your vehicle windshield for the disposal of all items. They are available at the town office for $20. That price is not going to go up for 2025. It's going to remain at $20. The transfer station does not accept brush or yard clippings or hazardous waste, but Riverside Recycling in Portland does take those items. You do not need a sticker to use the swap shop. That is full of really neat things. I see, they swap them in and out all the time. It's a come and grab and leave off some things, and it's really nice. It's well organized, it really looks nice. Please avail yourself of that. You do not need a sticker for that. There was one of, dog licenses are going to be running out December 31st. So I think those will become available in December to come in and license your dog before that. Poor dog, you don't want his license to run out, do you? You're going to have the ACO after you if you do.
Yes,
You will.
yep.
The
Officer
general
Lonsby.
assistance office hours are Wednesday, 12:30 to 2:30. Applications are available from the town clerk office during normal business hours, and the applications must be filled out and accompanied with supporting documentation and signed. Planning board meets at the municipal complex the first and third Monday evenings at 7.
The only other thing I wanted to add is I did get a chance tonight to talk to a landowner in town that is gonna donate us 45 acres. So it is a real thing, and the process has started, so it's down off of Mill Turn Road. It butts the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, 323 acres. It's a 45-acre parcel.
And on the Little Ossipee?
And on
the
the,
little
right on the water, so they want to, they're done with it, and they want to turn it over to us, for us to use for the community and Parks and Rec and everybody to enjoy, so that process has been started. We'll keep you posted.
If there's nothing else from the select board, I'll open up the meeting to the public if anyone would like to comment or make a statement.
Bonnie Lord Laughlin. There's so much great community, there's so many great community activities going on, and every week it seems you all announce some good things. I've come forward in the past to ask, and I am here again, can these be put on the town website? And if not, could you think about doing it in the future? I think tonight the budget's going to be worked on, presented for the town's budget. In addition to Public Works, is that right?
Unfortunately, they aren't ready yet. We've reached out to the Financial Advisory Committee to notify them. We'll need to pick a different date to present the Public Works and the municipal budget.
Okay, well, I don't know what the issue is with the town website, whether it is sorry?
Everything we've mentioned tonight as far as is all on the Parks and Rec website. It is on the town's Parks and Rec website.
And all I'm asking, and I really like that new website, Jason, and thank you. Last week or the week before, I think you all clarified limingtonme.myrec.com. Could that be put on the town website too?
Yeah, put a link
so we could
to it.
get it to the people.
Yeah.
We'll
See if we
work
can
on
do
making that
Yes.
happen.
Thank you. I'm not
Sometimes
here to
things
put
get-
pressure on anyone, but over the years, we keep asking for this, and if we're going to have a town website, if there could just be some component of how it gets populated with notices.
You're right. It's a little difficult sometimes because the individual who would be responsible for that, they have a lot of duties for the town, and sometimes things like updating the website definitely fall through the cracks. But we'll work on making it more accessible and putting as much information up there as we can.
Thank you. Please tell me a little bit about the community. Thank you very much. And I'm not here to put pressure on anyone, but there's
We
got
don't
to be
take
a
it
way
like
to
that,
do
Bonnie.
this.
We're happy to see you. It's been a little while.
Thank you. And please explain the community Thanksgiving.
We have
Jen?
someone in the audience that would love to do that.
Good.
Would you please
And-
come up to the podium? Yes.
I looked at my rec today. Is that Thanksgiving dinner on there? I didn't see it on there, but I wasn't really, I was
I haven't
going
looked,
quickly.
I'm sorry.
Addie Trefero. It may not be updated on the website. It is on the Facebook page. We are doing the community dinner on Saturday at 4 p.m. We're going to be handing out meal baskets. We've been collecting turkeys. We've also been getting donations for hams and other non-perishable food items. I'm probably going to be starting cooking in the morning, early hours, and have volunteers putting together meal baskets throughout the day to start handing out. Ultimately, I'm not taking names or any other information for the meal basket. Drive up, say I want either a turkey or a ham, and we'll put the meal basket together and hand it out. We're also going to be packing hot meals to go, and we do have some wonderful volunteers that have offered to deliver, but they're also going to be available for pickup. So.
Thank you very much.
That
Yeah.
is a big job. And
Absolutely.
is greatly appreciated. Anything else from the public? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor? The Select Board is adjourned at 7:21 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Please stay tuned for the Financial Advisory Committee meeting.
change jobs.
She did. She didn't come here, living by herself. Probably not right, but the same person.
7:25.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order at 7:25. Since we don't have an official secretary, we don't have official minutes to approve. We're going to rectify that tonight. So I think our first order of business is to officially elect officers. And I'd like to start that by nominating Claudette Townsend for chairperson of this committee.
I second that.
All right. All in favor?
What does she want?
We got to see if
Do
she
we have-
accepts it.
do we-
Yeah, Claudia, do you accept it?
No. No, I thought Steve was gonna stay chairman and she was gonna be secretary.
I've been chairperson of this for, I think, 6 years.
And why are we voting in the middle of the season? Because
Um,
we never did?
Yeah. So,
So that's a good point. I do think, we just talked about this. It probably should be effective January 1st. To make more sense. Like, let's get through
Like
this
after
budget.
this season, I mean,
Like,
that's what I
let's
was
get through
thinking.
this budget
Do it in
process.
March when we start, or not March, but next year when we deal with,
So I
Yeah.
think the.
but I know we need a secretary anyway, minimum.
I think the ordinance, the first meeting is technically September, and I think that's when we vote on, positions, officers. So I don't know if, like, making it effective the first of the year still, I don't think really falls in line with the ordinance. It's been a long time since I've seen that ordinance, but.
I think the reason that this is coming up is that there is more expertise than the non-current chairman has on this committee in other members. And in order to make the committee's work most effective, that's why we're talking about a change.
But I do think we need to, if there's potentially some definition in an ordinance, we probably ought to pause.
Bylaws, right?
Bylaws, so technically Steve would be stepping down voluntarily and there'd be a vacant position that needs to be filled.
Right.
I would love to do that.
He's been trying to do that.
He's been trying to do that. And we do not have, our secretary has stepped down also.
Right,
So-
left the committee, yeah.
Right. So technically, if he's stepping down and we do not have, he could be secretary. So,
What is the will of this committee?
So, yeah, but in that case, let's make the, in my opinion, let's make the vote official and.
Yeah.
Did we all vote yes for Claudette?
Or yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if we finished, but yes. I
Yeah.
will.
okay. All in favor, okay. And then
We
we need
also
a sec-
nominated her as secretary.
I nominate Renee Fahey.
So you took
Secretary.
I'll second
last
that.
week.
I did.
you, huh?
Yeah,
So we just didn't put them in a formal.
correct. I have them, I just haven't written them up. I have them from September 19th and I have them from November 7th. I need to type them up.
Well,
And
and
send
I
them.
don't think they can be official if you're not an official secretary, but we do want to be transparent in our business.
Yes.
And there is a video
Yeah.
Right.
of our
Record.
meetings anyway,
Well, she would be like the interim secretary,
but, yeah.
'cause that does happen.
But there is a nomination for a secretary.
Oh.
And seconded.
Oh,
Okay,
thanks.
and,
Sure.
okay, all in favor?
Very enthusiastic. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Claudette.
Yes.
Nominate you as vice chair.
He already is our co-chair.
Yes.
I haven't stepped down.
Okay, so you're vice chair?
Unaccepted.
So,
Okay.
we now have official roles, and I guess just the question is when to transfer. And
You
Yeah.
want to do that January 1st?
Right, yeah, I would
Okay.
prefer, like, let's get through this budget process.
So I will continue to chair meetings for the rest of this year.
Assuming that there's no bylaw issue, and I guess we can check that.
Well, I think
No,
Jake's
I think-
correct.
yeah, I
If-
think we-
If I step
Okay.
down, which I
Okay,
it circumvents the bylaw.
got it. Okay.
And the secretary position was vacant anyway, so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also pretty sure nobody's gonna read the bylaws and come after us. The cops are not knocking on our doors because we did something inappropriately
Yeah.
for an advisory board.
Advisory, right?
You never know.
And the line for those who want to join and participate is
Correct.
not long either.
Correct.
Wait, let me get the door, right?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
All right, so our original agenda for tonight is off the table. And I had proposed that we just take a look at the information that we have so far and also begin to look at the capital improvement budgets. What is the will of this committee?
Before we do that, does everybody have this? The updated on the fire department? Can we?
No, that's the only copy I have.
Oh.
I can go make copies if you want to talk about it.
Oh, but do you want to, should we, the fire chief has presented a
Yes.
alternate,
Okay.
and I just wanted to know what the differences were, so do we need copies of?
So, given that I'm kind of a lame duck here,
Well, did
What does
you,
the
is that what you
committee
emailed to us before?
No.
No, this is an
I just
update.
updated that today,
Okay,
so I was gonna send it to you guys, but if you want to be able to talk about it tonight, I can go print copies off, so that
I'm just thinking, we're here, you're here, but
I'm always here.
what do we want to do?
I think it would be fine to hear, like,
Yeah, let's
an
hear-
overview of what the changes, sorry, what the changes are.
Good.
So do you want copies?
That
yeah,
would be
that would be
awesome.
great,
Okay.
thanks.
Why don't you talk amongst yourselves and I will do that?
Okay, we'll do
you
that.
give us a topic?
Give us a
My
topic.
favorite-
Well, I
Right,
mean,
and so then after we hear from
Emo,
then
we'll just adjourn.
We'll adjourn and then go into like workshop to talk, to go over the things that we've been presented
Right.
and review,
Okay.
talk about some of the budgets that we've been presented with. And talk about the,
Then we adjourn the meeting before we do that?
because then we go into workshop.
And we still don't know from the select board when you're going to be ready to give us public works, municipal, and then sort through.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, no,
You were
go ahead.
at the end. Can you explain the difference between a meeting and a workshop?
Because the workshop is not on camera, we're
Doesn't
in
it
our
have to be?
our group. We haven't had our workshops on camera
No,
before.
we've had a couple different, just discussion sessions. We can't make any decisions
Right.
in a
Right.
workshop.
We can't make any
It's literally
votes
just
or,
conversation.
it's literally conversation.
Okay.
It would be the same thing that, like, our last meeting, after the meeting ended, several of us, I think all of us were here talking about issues.
And different questions and so on.
Because I've always, it's always been an interesting, because we used to have an official workshop.
Right.
Way back when I first got on the board, there was an official workshop, and I think that's what the January one was called. They called it a workshop, but we actually voted on it too. And to me, the other thing that I've heard is that anytime more than two of us get together at a coffee shop, it's technically a meeting of the Financial Advisory Board, if we're talking about financial advisory things. So, and that's why I'm just like, okay, what's the difference between a meeting and a workshop at that point? And
Well, yeah.
I mean, maybe
We've
I'm,
been told that because if we're not voting on anything, that it would be considered a workshop because we're discussing what it would be, our feelings on things, how we want to move forward. So if we disagree with a certain budget, and this is what we would be looking, that would be a workshop discussion, not necessarily in a meeting space.
So we've had a few of those
Mm-hmm.
over the last couple of years where, I think once when there wasn't a quorum, so we couldn't have an official meeting, and another time where, just, we weren't, it wasn't formal, we weren't making any decisions,
Mm-hmm.
we're just wanting to, share ideas in terms of how we move forward.
Okay.
It's not meant in any way to lack transparency.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't, yeah. I was just curious as to, because we had, before I left the board, we'd kind of moved away from like the workshop
Mhm.
just because of the like transparency or whatever. We just did it all at a meeting. But then again, our meetings were 3 hours long, so.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't see that as chair.
Yeah, what we were told, if there's no public, so in a workshop, there's no public comment allowed, and there's no voting to be allowed.
Right.
It's just conversations,
yeah, no, that makes sense.
is what we were told. So if we're having a meeting, we're allowed public comment, and we're allowed votes. That's what we were told as the difference.
Glad he even brought copies for the audience.
I know.
Show up. Nothing. Nora, was that on the mic?
Yes, the public
Thank
heard
you.
that.
So I didn't prepare this in a way that I could show you which lines I changed. I just made reductions. Like I had said early on, as the year went on or got closer to the end, I wanted to be able to make updates based on where our spending was. So originally, I think I had presented a budget that had about $30,000 worth of increases. I've been able to cut that down to $12,424. I just want to add the caveat that I know there's increases to insurance, but I don't know what that is yet. So I haven't been able to add that in.
Good.
The EMS training seminars, have you not spent any of that?
So that, if you look, there's account 155 and 157. Originally, we only had the 155, not 156 and 157.
Okay.
Last year during the budget process, it was decided to split the training money into two different accounts, but they didn't get rid of the 155. And then we started spending money on EMS training and they assigned it to 155. So 155 and 157 really should be one, and one of those should go away.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's been training in both areas, but. On that second one, that's just the comparison year to date, where if I was spending exactly where the budget would allow, what I should have spent versus what we have spent. And down at the bottom, you see there's, as of yesterday, there's a $127,806 surplus, which puts us at 76.6% spent, and we should be at 88.3% spent, leaving a surplus of 11.6%. But if you look at the bottom on the left, it explains why the surplus. So we had a vacant full-time position
I forget for how many weeks, but between pay and benefits, that equates to $65,901. And then our EMS director was out on medical leave for several weeks, leaving $22,395 in surplus for her salary. Combined, that comes to $88,297. And then if you look at the proposed decreases that I have in the proposal for next year, if you look at what I reduced, add back in the increases, it leaves a reduction of $24,225. All of that combined means there's a total reduction or an account for $112,522 of that surplus. So that means that there, in reality, there would be a potential for $15,283 in surplus in next year's budget. And that's, to me, that's reasonable because we have accounts that we can't predict, like maintenance and, you know, those kind of things. So it leaves room for a little bit of movement.
Okay.
That's what I got. One thing I brought up to, I haven't seen all the selectmen together. I brought it up before in the past. With so many things on the capital plan, our EMS billing account, after the offsets were taken out for this year, I believe the account balance is at $288,000. So I'm still encouraging people to consider using that surplus to pay for the ambulance replacement, which should require payment in about 3 years if it gets voted this year. And I think at that point, the balance would be pretty close to what the cost of the ambulance will be. Even taking the $150,000 annually out, but letting anything above that accrue until 2028.
So you're saying not to take anything out of the?
I'm saying don't increase the offset. So for the last few years, they've been taking $150,000 from it. And so if we hold the line there and let that account build up until 2028.
And there'd still be, even taking the 150 out every year, there'd still be enough in there to pull out for an ambulance.
That's what the goal is. I mean, I think what it should do, the people should vote to purchase the ambulance or not. And then if they do, at such time that we need to pay, we would have a vote to transfer that money out of the EMS billing into the reserve and then make the payment. So even if the balance isn't enough to pay 100% of the ambulance, it's going into the reserve account, the capital reserve account, to offset the cost of the ambulance.
So, sorry, I just want to be sure I understand. So you're saying don't move the 150, just
No,
leave
it. Keep it at 150 annually.
Okay.
So that because we're getting busier, right?
Yeah.
So that should increase our reserve in that account.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Why wouldn't we get, I mean, what would be the alternative to not keeping it? You mean lowering it?
So historically, they've just seen what the balance is and then say, let's move this much out of it as an offset.
Okay.
Instead of saying we're always taking the same amount, it's based on what the balance is.
Got it.
So.
So you're suggesting don't take 288,
Correct.
take 150. Okay.
Your overage in oxygen is just over $6,000.
Yeah,
year to
so you'll see that I didn't increase it at the same rate that we're at for this year.
Right, I noticed
Probably
that.
you're wondering why.
Yes.
So every year, we have to increase the oxygen line. And the only explanation is, well, the contract had to renew. So we pay a lease fee, and then we pay every time we exchange an empty bottle. And all I can think of why there's such a large increase in oxygen compared to last year is that when we renew the lease, maybe in the past it's come out of the dues, fees, and contracts versus the oxygen line. So I'm proposing when we have to renew that contract with them, that's what we do. So that should reduce what we're using out of the oxygen line.
Because your dues, fees, and subscription is not that far off from what it was last year, right?
Let me go back over.
Your year-to-date surplus on that account is $2,600.
Why did I
You
close that out?
appropriated $23,000 you've expended, it says year-to-date portion, 20,000, year-to-date expended, 17,600. So that is about your $6,000 difference.
Excel doesn't want to
If
work
I'm-
right now, so I,
Am I reading that correctly?
So that means you're under quite a bit.
Right, so if the appropriated was 23, year-to-date expended is 17,600.
That's what he's saying is the.
Yep, so it
the
did,
admin could be 3,000 added on, it still would leave him 3,000
yep,
in that range.
okay.
I apologize, my computer for weeks now, Excel just decides it doesn't want to work sometimes, and this is one of those times.
Yeah, Excel's temperamental. So that makes sense on that.
You want a copy?
Only if you have more questions.
The only other one I had is fuel, because you have allocated 16, I think, again this year.
Yeah, I'm holding the line. I think fuel prices are going to be lower over the next 4 years. So we're ending pretty tight, but I think we're going to be within, and we'll be all right next year.
Okay.
So.
Okay. That was my only two questions.
Other questions? Well, Emil, we certainly appreciate you scaling down the budget and saving the town some money.
Yeah, no problem.
So you've confused more than answered my question.
Glad I can help.
You started talking about dues, fees, and contracts, but it's only $3,000 less than last year, but we're taking $6,000 out
But
of it.
if you look, where's the line? So last year was appropriated 23,000,
Yeah,
and then his year-to-date expended is
17.
17,600.
It's because they forgot to move 3,000 out of that account to
So
pay the.
there's a
Oxygen
$6,000
lease.
difference
right.
from here to here, and he's got a surplus of 2026. So if this was supposed to have been in this line versus this line, then that would explain some of that difference. Because he has 53 allocated, and he's spent 10. So it was taken, he believes that it was taken out of, a portion of this should have been taken out of the dues, fees, and subscriptions, but it was all put into this one category.
So your oxygen is over by $6,000, but your
But
dues, fees, and subscriptions isn't under by $6,000.
Well, there might be a math error on here too, because really the warrant's 23. If you spent 17, this really should be closer to 6 in this column, and it's 2,600.
What are you looking at,
That's
Claudia?
year-to-date, too.
Is that the budget or
Oh,
the?
okay.
The year-to-date,
That's-
the
Year-to-date
year-to-date
expended, yeah.
surplus.
Yeah, so the year-to-date surplus, oh, I see, never mind,
Yeah,
year-to-date portion, I'm with you.
Yeah, the year-to-date is,
Yeah,
that's a good sheet for what he was showing, but other than that,
yeah.
it causes some, because it's a difference of $5,300, $5,348.
right, because this one doesn't show that the,
Because it doesn't show
and so you've
what,
reduced that for next year to $20,000 because the $6,000 is gonna move down to oxygen, or partly why you've reduced it.
Well, 3,000 probably, yeah, subtract for the lease.
I would like for the oxygen company to be able to explain why there's always increases annually, because I still don't have the answer for that. That's just the best I can come up with to explain it. So.
It's not pricing per recharge, refill? is it?
So we pay a contract which guarantees us so many bottles of the various sizes we use, and then as we exchange them, we pay basically a refill fee.
Yeah,
And I know that we haven't gone through oxygen at the rate, or at a larger rate to justify a larger, that amount of expense.
So this is not an internal, administrative where they got the bill and they took it out of the wrong column? This is the
So
company
this is,
itself?
well, this is one of the things that I don't see, it just gets paid. So I don't have the ability to track it or see how it's changing, other than through the ACI reports. So,
But it's not, you don't think it's in-house that they took it out of the wrong place? It must be, right? It must.
Well, I think we can move the lease agreement to dues, fees, and contracts, which will save some of the oxygen line.
So how do you get that to happen without knowing?
Just
You just
tell
let
them that that's
know
where it needs to come
if
from.
that lease comes in?
Yeah.
Just
And
how-
in fact, it starts with going in there and asking her to show how we paid for it in the past, right?
Yeah, that's just a GL code.
Another thing
Yeah.
a town manager can help with monitoring.
At the end of the day, it's still out of the same pot, whichever account it's in.
But I'm wondering,
That person's got-
but so how do you know if the price went up or down if you don't know?
I mean, I would
You
think
know
you,
where it's coming from. It could, one week it could be this one, the next week it could be a different, you know what I mean? Can it come from multiple line items and you don't know where they came from?
I
So
hope not.
you don't know if the price went up or down.
I
Right.
mean, you can always ask to look at the bill, right?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
think you'd want to see, if that's an important thing, which sounds
Yeah.
like it is, you'd want to see all the bills and kind of add them up to say, okay, these bills,
Right.
what line item did they come from?
Yeah. And if there's that much increase, then we need to be doing some shopping anyway.
Just so you can keep track of how much oxygen you use per
Right.
year
Yeah.
compared to price per
Right.
gallon or whatever it is.
Right.
You might need an internal accountant to help you.
Yeah, I gotta find the line in for that.
Do you have an assistant that can do the books?
Anything else on this issue before we move on? Going? No pressure.
You, don't have anything under the fly car for next year.
So vehicle maintenance,
I thought I saw that.
Vehicle
It's
maintenance
all in one line
is a
until
lot,
it
yeah,
separates
it's, the budget amount is one line, and then it gets assigned to the individual vehicles as it gets used.
Threw me off because it was way down the list.
Yeah,
and
it was just recently added.
Oh, just 'cause-
4401.
yeah.
So as a department head, department heads do not have to sign off on any invoices that come in. Like, what if they get an invoice, they just pay it, but it was a double bill that you
So-
would have caught if you had seen, like, I go through my bills every month
Right.
as
So,
a project manager, let's say, and I know if I need to, bill somebody, pay, whatever.
so it's kind of
You don't get to do
a
that?
double-edged sword, because under previous management within that department, they were getting invoices sent to them, and then they would do the purchase orders so then the purchase order would always match the invoice. However, there was no guarantee that the invoices were getting out front so that they could be paid timely. And so, once that was caught, it was said the invoices need to come to accounts payable. So, purchase orders get submitted, the invoice should be reconciled to the purchase order, and if for some reason there's a variance, then they should be checking with us to find out why.
I would think you'd get to be able to review at the end of the month or whatever.
Yeah, so
Which
there's,
bills got paid under
utilities-
your, like Sean gets his, you get yours, planning board, whatever.
right.
Once a month, I know yours is probably the biggest amount of invoices,
Yeah.
but still, you should get the option. to-
Utilities and like heat, we don't have propane, but phones, the recurring bills, they don't make us do a purchase order for. So that's one of those things that it just comes in and it gets paid, so.
But they also get regular reporting so that they can verify. So if something looks off, then they can question it. So there's a
Yeah.
check and balance there too.
Yeah, because you get the treasurer's report. That's how you said you saw it, right?
The expense account, yeah.
Expense,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I keep a ledger of all my purchase orders too, so I know about where the balances should be,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, it might be a big job that you can't take on, but, you know, just to make sure you know that what's getting paid goes from the right place.
Yeah,
But, and you would see that, the account number, when you see the treasurer's report? Like, you could look back through, you want to be a month's treasurer's report to see,
Yeah, so
think-
Nikki's
Is
pretty
a
good,
lease-
every Wednesday, once all the
Yeah.
bills have been, well, the checks have been cut, she'll send those out, and so that's when I start doing my comparison, so.
it's very detailed. Oh, you know what? Joyce provided us with one, I think, last week.
and that shows you the account number.
Yep. Yeah, so basically, my budget
No, we're not
matches on a
Here it
larger
is.
scale, but the accounts are in line with the ACI report. So when I'm going down through, I'm looking line for line, I don't have
They're
to search
getting all
for
the
anything.
detail.
Yeah.
So
Like
if
the
something looks
oxygen,
off,
is that a lease every year? It's a new lease every year? Or you
I
don't know?
honestly don't know. I remember years ago when I was in that office being told it was 3-year lease, because even back then, there was a jump one year, like, why did this go up? And we were told, well, this is the year the lease renews. And that's all I'm going on.
So now you're saying that's happening every year?
I guess we'll find out.
Don't know.
I'd have to
Don't
go
know.
back and look at last year and try to decipher if that would justify the increase or not.
And this isn't, we have a pump or something that was filling those? This is
No.
something different, right?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of our breathing air for SCBA's.
Okay.
So that's not oxygen. The oxygen bottles get, every Monday they come out, and we just have the corner of the station is full bottles and empty bottles. If the seal's been taken off, they know it's an empty, and they take it and replace whatever they take.
And the oxygen's for EMS?
Yep.
The SCBA is for fire?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Oxygen is a medication.
Yep.
And did something change with our medical billing contract?
No, that's just based off,
It went up,
yeah, it's
Least
based off
renewed.
our billing.
at least renewed.
Personally, I would have, had I been more than 4 or 5 years old when they started doing the billing account, I would have had it so that the billing came out of the EMS billing account instead of out of the operating budget. But it's, that line is based off what they bill. So the more they
Okay.
bill, the more we're making. They just
Gotcha.
get a percentage of it.
Okay. So as it's continuing to increase, theoretically, we're gonna have the offset of the revenue.
Correct.
So do you think, since we've had year-to-date expended of 18,000, do you think having your warrant for 2025 at 18 is, how far behind are they on the billing? Like, is it a month behind?
I honestly don't know that, and if you look at the statements that Patty gives me every month, the amount of deposit fluctuates, sometimes it's a big jump, so I'm thinking, even though they may bill on a monthly basis, they may not get payments
Right, maybe 60,
regularly.
90 days, yep.
Right.
Okay.
The town subscription plan, that's the $25 buy-in thing?
Yeah.
So what's the expenses there?
Well, once a year,
Going up
they
the
do the
rest
print
of-
and mailing, and Minuteman up in Denmark does that. They do the mailing and everything. Just recently, that balance changed, and I didn't know why, so Patty went in and looked, and there was some sort of correction. All I can think of is somebody got a bill that shouldn't have been billed because they were a subscriber. So we did a reimbursement for that out of that account. Again, I don't agree with that. It should have come out of the EMS billing account because that's where the revenue went. It's a correction of the revenue and should have come out of that account.
So that's why that one's over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time I did the budget, it was in line with the cost of doing the printing and mailing.
I want to suggest that we move on. Is that, I don't want to cut anybody off, but just in terms of
Yep.
Don't want to cut you off. All right, make a motion that we adjourn our meeting and stick around for discussion and workshop.
Yep, I second the motion.
All in favor? Okay.